Welcome back to the Fairways of Life show as we continue our tour through Northern Ireland, and we're going to make our way into the Northwest Republic of Ireland as well. You find us now in the city of Derry, and behind me you can see some of the fortifications, these walls. The city is known for walls. It is a walled city in and of itself, but this is part of Ebrington, the old Navy base that was here forever, and the history of this is so stout. You know, it's always interesting being in Derry because Derry in many ways represents a number of different places that you can find on this island, in that there are seemingly conflicts. There's the obvious conflicts that you'll hear referred to as the Troubles, obviously, but that's not the conflicts I'm talking about. I'm talking about the conflicts of understanding. And what Derry has been able to do in its recent history is actually remarkable. It is transforming itself from a city that sat in a troubled border to now a city that represents the hope of the future. And that hope is being seen in the medical facilities, in the education. It's being seen in the investments of major corporations. And they're here, yes, because of the tax structure, because of the ability to get workers that are highly trained and highly educated, all of those things. But it's also because of the culture. And to speak to that culture and more has been our host for the last few days here at the hotel. Cecil Doherty is with us. He's the managing director. Pleasure to see you again, my friend.
Thank you.
Cecil, you just heard me talking about Derry and the remarkable transformation that we've seen from this city. And I guess where we're standing is a perfect place to start.
Absolutely. If anything is symbolic of movement and change, then the Ebrington site is, because you're just looking at the Peace Bridge, and obviously the giveaways in the name. We had a divided city here. However, as part of the dividend of the peace process from 2003, this new Peace Bridge was commissioned and opened in 2011, and it now has an annual footfall of 1.5 million people who cross regularly onto this Ebrington site. And so what was a bastion of the Empire, the British Empire, is now an open facility for tourists, visitors, locals, all come here to enjoy the facilities here.
When we talk about something like this that is physical and man-made, yet it represents symbolism as well. It's really the same thing with these stone walls behind me, right? Where we started this segment today, because these stone walls used to be about defense and keeping people out, and now everything you're doing here is about bringing people in.
It's completely the opposite. It's all been opened up. Well, Derry in its history is one of the last fully walled cities in Europe. And at Ebrington, there was a replica wall, a Starfort wall, which was, as you say, a defence for this particular area as a military base. So that now has become a tourist attraction, and as you say, ironically, is now an attraction to bring people in. And that's what we've done here. So
incredible. With what you have done here, you've taken all these buildings. I have to ask you, first of all, when you first came here, were these buildings derelict? What were they like?
Everything here was derelict.
Wow.
So this has all been developed over the last, I'd probably say 5 or 6 years. In its entirety, it's been redeveloped.
So you just had the vision to do this? Was it destined to be otherwise demolished?
No, it's a heritage protected structure, the entire site.
That's good.
So the government recruited would-be investors and asked them for their vision of it. So we saw an opportunity for a hotel at 4-star level or 5-star level, which has now turned out to be the Ebrington Hotel. But there are other businesses on site as well. We have the Stitch and Weave bar here. We have our own local brewery up on beside us, which develops its own local beer.
Really?
So, and then you have the new modern office block, Grade A office block building, which is just started to be housed. People from Ernst & Young have just come in.
At its height, how many soldiers were here?
At any given time, obviously pre-war as a base, there would have been up to 1,000 soldiers here, and at various sizes. But you mean this was a base, for example, for during the Crimean War, there were soldiers housed here.
Whoa!
And then this was a U.S. naval base during the Second World War as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to note to people that because we're in Northern Ireland, there was that involvement. I'm actually kind of surprised that this area wasn't targeted and wasn't bombed during the war, given its significance, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, well, it was a strategic corner for the defence of the North Atlantic, which was the supply route from obviously the States into Europe. And it was well protected, but it was the area that strategically saved the war, where by winning the North Atlantic War, as Churchill went on to say, it was the opportunity that enabled their overall success in the Second World War. So this played a strategic role in that defence and that success.
Yeah, the convoys from the British and the U.S. Navy that were constantly under attack by the German U-boats. Kind of strange and ironic to think that the period at the end of that sentence for those U-boats was right here in Derry.
Exactly right. This is where they surrendered, just 2 minutes from here out at Lissahallie. And the interesting thing is that today you're going to play Portrush, and tomorrow you play Ballyliffin. And from each golf course, you'll be able to look out in the Atlantic and see where those boats are actually scuttled.
Wow.
So that's their location.
So this historic building that we're looking at, replete with the clock tower,
yes,
this is all part of yours.
Yeah, the entire hotel features the clock tower building, which I referred to earlier. And that was a location for holding squatty soldiers who then stayed there, but this was the parade ground to the right, and they would have did their drills there on a daily basis. And then we repurposed new build, attaching it to old, and bringing us over to what was the captain's house.
Over here was the captain's house?
Which is now our specific corner bar. But I'd also refer you over to the far side of the building there, where that was the Admiral's house over there as well. And then I would refer to here, the building behind us, which was the hospital during the days of it being a military base. And that's now going to be the home of the new North Atlantic Maritime Museum.
Oh,
it's scheduled to start work on this very soon and to be finished in 2027.
Awesome. Do you mind if we check out the captain's house?
Well, would you like a pint of Guinness or?
Don't tempt me, it's early yet. So we've made our way inside. Cecil, where are we?
This is the original captain's house on the Ebrington Barracks. So with a provenance dating back to about 1840.
Wow.
So we've repurposed this obviously into a modern bar. It was a 2-story building. And of course in these old buildings, really thick, wide walls, but everything was heated by open fire. So they had open fires everywhere on timber joists. It was the weirdest thing. So yeah. So yeah, it's, as I say, it's part of an element of the pub, and we sell it as that, as a bar.
And what did you fill this pub with? That there's all kinds of knickknacks that look like there's a lot of stories to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the interesting stories here was that during the Troubles, a whale got marooned in the river here, and during the Troubles, both sides of the community came down to the river to see what became known as Dopey Dick. So Dopey Dick got in but couldn't get out. And it was really interesting and we've actually done a number of nautical themes here. So you have the boats and whatever. And then on the gable here, you have a mural dedicated to Dopey Dick.
That's classic. These actually are works of art, aren't they?
Yeah, a lot of that would be, you acquire that over a period of time. The original oars, again, keeping the nautical theme on the river here. So lots of it.
Beautiful. And you have some pretty big artistic events that happen all around us, right? Isn't the Jazz Festival coming up here soon?
Yeah, that's right. Next week, the Jazz Festival starts, and it's the biggest by the number of acts that of any jazz festival in Europe, actually. So it's a great phenomenon for the city. People come from everywhere, and there's all sorts of acts everywhere, between every bar, restaurant, street acts, everything. It's all jazz for the entire week.
Great.
Yeah, it's
was this the original staircase that are bedrooms?
Yes, that was the original staircase, yeah. So again, we've repurposed it and strengthened it.
Private rooms upstairs?
There were at that stage, yeah. It's actually now a private room for rental for parties.
When I was in here the other night, of course, this I noticed immediately with the old clubs.
That's right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, it's a hotel that attracts a lot of golfers. The city is attracting golfers. It's only an hour to Portrush or Portstewart or indeed Ballyliffin. So again, lots of, and particularly US golfers, come and stay here in the city. It's a 5-minute walk to the city centre from the hotel, which is perfectly safe here. So yeah, there's a nod to golf.
Beautiful.
And again, in this room, we've dedicated a little area to Irish writers and famous Irish writers and poets. Of course, the city was famous for that. And, you had Seamus Heaney, John Hume, all came from this city. So there's a little nod to some of the...
So in the sometime tortured history of Derry came all of this incredibly emotional and distinctive writing?
Absolutely, yeah. Heaney was a farmer from about 10 minutes from the city, 15 minutes from the city, and Hume himself grew up in Derry. Amazing people, Paul Brady, of course, the musicians here.
So
as well.
When you built this pub as part of the hotel, was this intended to be almost in some ways from out here an independent attraction?
Absolutely, yeah. And in fact, even more so, we're going to rebrand it further and create it as a separate entity, separate pub. But it works well as a bar in the city. Remember, we're on the Ebrington Square, which was the former military barracks.
Yeah.
And, it's having a location like this has become very focused and very central for people.
And I see the selection here is very, very good. I had dinner here last night, and we had a really nice wine.
Yeah.
So you keep a full array depending upon a person's taste.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward, actually. There's a local distillery, Wild Atlantic Way, and I've actually spoken to the guy earlier. I'm going to try and see, can I get you a bottle of his special whiskey?
Oh, which one would that be?
There's a Derry City one called The Quiet Man. As a nod
That's a good name. Yeah, John Wayne likes that one.
There you go.
Somewhere. I was looking as I was speaking about the wine. Your wine closet looks well appointed.
Yeah, it's actually one side's chilled, so all your white wines is on one side, and then we do keep a good stock of fine wines, reds. So this section then, coming off what was the old captain's house, is a complete new build, and the big challenge for us was to add in a building to adjoin existing buildings and try and make it blend in as much as possible. So that's what we've tried to do here, and the restaurant at the Ebrington works really well. You're going to meet the head chef, Lee Thurston, fairly soon, but we do have an emphasis on fresh food. We don't do anything frozen. It's all new, fresh, cooked daily. So we get a lot of US golfers, a lot of US visitors. In fact, we have a separate bus load here today of just people coming to stay here. And as I said earlier, they use it as a central location from which to explore the city. And remember, the city has, it's one of the last fully walled cities in Europe.
Amazing.
So now, Matt, we're arriving into reception. And this gable here represented the gable of the old clock tower building, which you'll see from the outside. And again, this building was 1840s. It was originally used to house soldiers, squaddies. So there were dormitories. And there were soldiers billeted here right back to the Crimean War. They would have been housed here and from there taken on the river out to the North Atlantic.
The construction is so beautiful. It has such a modern look to it for such a historic place.
Yeah, well, that was the challenge, of trying to see could we marry old and new and bring it into a modern context. So we've done that. And again, this is all new build, and you're going to see it later where we have the spa, and the hydrotherapy pool is just down here. So I'm just going to refer you to this picture here, which is obviously a blow-up of where the Ebrington site was, and that's in the year 1800. So we would be located here now at the moment, and that looked across at the old wooden bridge joining to the rest of the city.
So where we're standing right now is right here?
Just right here, yeah. And you would have seen the emphasis on shipping and boating in the city with St. Columb's Cathedral.
It's amazing because that spire is still there.
That's right. But an interesting one I'm going to show you now is if you take that picture, that's 1800, and look from here, and I'll show you on this photograph. And if you look at the same reference point to your left, that's 1850. It's unreal the amount of development that happened in that 50 years.
And give us where we are over here then?
We're still here.
Oh, we'd be over here, yeah.
So it's the same photograph 50 years on. And then there's the other view of looking across at Ebrington from the other side of the city.
You went out of your way to build a lot of like really, really comfortable places just for people to hang out,
Yep,
relax,
yeah,
feel at home.
yeah, absolutely. And then I'm just going to show you quickly the residence lounge, which we developed as a piano bar. And you'll see where we've built a museum or a type of reference to the historical past. Not sequentially, but certainly just we followed a number of themes. Obviously, the immigration theme, because a lot of the boats that would have left during the famine time would have left from the river here. So again, you have that theme that's followed through. Obviously, we're famous for Amelia Earhart, so there's a reference to her. So immigration, boating, all of that is referenced in this particular area. So during the Second World War, for example, Ebrington was the US naval base, Fort Hood, and you had Roosevelt's wife visited the troops here, and it was from here that the US Navy accepted the surrender of all the U-boats just down there on the river.
Wow, I just got a chill. That's incredible.
So yeah, and then those U-boats were then taken out to the North Atlantic and scuttled, but they were all surrendered just there at our doorstep.
Incredible.
Yeah. So
I wonder how many people actually realize. I didn't. I wonder how many people actually realized the role that Ireland played in the Second World War. With the
it was critical, the role, because obviously the North Atlantic was, the supply line from the States to Europe, and obviously there was a lot of U-boat activity in the area. So a lot of the north coast of Ireland was used as reference points for security. And you'll actually find that, and if you go out to Malin Head, Ireland's most northerly point, you'll actually see in white stones written EIRE, E-I-R-E, which is indicating for pilots flying over, tell them where they were.
Incredible.
So that happens all the time.
Was Ireland ever at risk of getting bombed then?
There were a few bombs dropped and whatever, but not really. It was more, the war in this part of the world was more nautical. It was more on the ocean, North Atlantic.
Incredible. What is this beautiful room we found?
So this is our residence lounge. So again, it's in the old original clock tower, which would have housed squatties. So we've repurposed this. We've kept the old fireplaces and modernised them. And this is our piano lounge, where residents can come, and at weekends we have resident pianists who come in afternoons and evenings. And
so people live above us?
Yes, people live above us, yeah. There's 80 odd rooms above, over 2 floors.
Wow.
Above here, yes, which was, as I said, a space that housed squatties.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you able to integrate where you could, perhaps like the distressed brick or stone from the original buildings?
The heritage people insisted that we would repurpose as much as possible, and that we would retain all of that. So actually all of the original brick is all retained, and we've just basically put on an outer clad on it.
That's protected forever then.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. So then this was the old clock tower, and again it was falling down, so we've taken it and rebuilt it. And from the outside you'll see that there's 3 clocks in it, and this was the meeting point for a lot of people, where you would meet under the clock at Ebrington. I'm just going to reference what is the Ebrington Barracks. Again, it was a 29-acre site that effectively has a stone fort wall right around it, and we're located here. We're in the clock tower building here. So that's a protected structure. Some of it has been demolished, but they've retained the whole outline and structure of it. And then that's leading down onto the river. It was a complete military barracks. In fact, it was a village, because they had obviously housing for soldiers, but officers' mess, naval mess, captain's house. You had a hospital, you had schools, they even had a discotheque here that went on for, as I said, hundreds of years. There was soldiers located here. So
amazing.
And again, we have another lounge here, which folks use then for functions. So this is a pre-dinner for weddings. This is where they sit and gather for them. So, well, in the clock tower building, which is the old soldiers' mess, you're now looking out on the square, which was the parade ground for soldiers, just on the front. So we've taken these rooms originally where they housed up to 12 soldiers. So what we've done is we've divided that space into 4 bedrooms. So the bedroom you're in now is looking out onto the square, onto the river, and the entire city. Great aspect, great view. Old buildings, so therefore we had to work with what we have in terms of size, but we tried to finish and decorate them as tastefully as possible with great emphasis on quality and class.
Wow.
So yeah, welcome to the spa at the Ebrington. Bijou Spa with 8 treatment rooms. At the hotel, we've developed our own product, which is our own aroma, but it's also our own massage product. So, and we also then built in a hydrotherapy place where we deal with golfers and recovering golfers after 36 holes at Portrush or Ballyliffin. So I'll bring you down here just to show you. But on the way down, I'm just going to reference this wall is the scheduled monument. So that's the wall I referred to earlier, which was built in the 1600s. And that's a scheduled monument, it's a protected monument. So no one is allowed to go near it or touch it.
How far down does that wall go?
That goes down at least 20 feet.
Wow.
All right, okay, you're all right, it's all right. So relax, smile. So here you have the hydrotherapy center, which is designed to massage pumping air through water. So every feature there is about recovery, muscle aches, recovery. And in particular where the 3 folks are, that's an underwater deck, and that's all about massage. So they're actually being massaged as they sit there. And then of course you have the steam room and sauna and mood showers. But you have the neck massage as well. So we've arranged for your group tonight. We're going to leave it open for you late tonight when you come back.
Really?
Yeah. So
thank you. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So you'll be able to use that facility later on this evening when you get back from Portrush.
Beautiful.
And I hope you all break 90 at Portrush.
Me too.
Bad day. Okay.